In this world, writers are one of the 1% of the world who draw power from the books they write. They get more powerful as their publications are read by the masses. There are rare cases where powerful writers have brought their books to life. The writers get their powers from magical presses, which are mysterious machines that no one knows where they came from. As expected, some writers use their powers for good, while others do bad with them. The writers are also able to pass on their powers to their children. Basically, the families of powerful writers of the past still maintain their status as the current powerful families. In Seoul, at the head office of one of the many presses, the Nocturne Press, RMC, Sung is scolded by his manager, Miss Kim. Sung is still an E-rank writer who has only managed to pull 12,000 reads after publishing 2 books. Instead of looking at how poor his record is, Sung believes he is doing well since he is able to get 12,000 people to read his trash books. However, his manager points him to the reviews dropped on the book to show him how bad they are. Reviews are so bad that some are calling for the arrest of the trash author. Sung is not the least worried as he tells Kim that people are dropping the reviews because they can't relate to his ingenuity. He reminds Kim that he wrote the best poetry of the past year, but Kim doesn't care since no one freaking reads poetry anymore. Kim then mentions the fact that the press is the oldest in the country, but they have not been doing well in the past year, which has allowed their competitor, the Red Eye Press, to overtake them. Because of this, the company is relying on young writers like Sung to help boost the company's sales. She urges him to take a playbook out of a writer named K. K is the youngest writer ever to attain B rank at the age of 20 years, and to make it all sweet, he is also a pop star. She gives Sung one of K's books, which is an office romance type. Sung reluctantly takes the book from her before she storms off in anger. She lets Sung know that he has only 1 week to read the book. Sung holds his head in frustration, but his friend Salim urges him not to think about the situation since it could have gotten worse. Salim points out that Sung could have gotten himself fired if Kim didn't like him. Sung gets some pretty good advice from what his friend says. Sung believes that they are pretty lucky to be working for a press as big as the Nocturne Press considering their background. That night, Sung lies in his apartment, and he becomes interested in the book without even realizing it. After getting a few chapters of the book, Sung decides that it is time for him to sleep. He throws the book on the table while promising to continue the next day. Sung soon finds himself in dreamland, where he sees his mother and aunt, Hyejin. It is all a happy moment until they hear a knock on the door. The aunt walks to the door to open it, but suddenly gets attacked by an unknown man. Hyejin is immediately killed by the intruder. Sung's mother somewhat recognizes the danger and grabs her son. She dashes out of the room with her son in her arms. She tells Sung to hold on to her while she tries to escape. The bad guy appears behind them and unleashes a blade that pierces the woman's body, barely missing Sung. She crashes to the ground while the bad guy strolls up to her, telling her how hard it is to find her. He laughs evilly while wielding his cross-like weapon. Without hesitation, he swings his weapon at the two, aiming to end them. Sung's mother pushes him away, urging him to run. The bad guy smashes Sung's mother into the ground, ultimately killing her. Sung's little run turns out to be futile as the bad guy easily catches up to him. Sung is about to join his mother in the afterlife when another figure shows up to defend him. The new figure is wielding a sword, unlike his counterpart, who is wielding a big cross-like weapon. Sung's defender tells the attacker how disappointed he is that he is going after a kid without remorse. The new dude informs the attacker that he is going to pay for his sins. He unleashes a powerful lightning-based attack to hit the intruder. But the intruder remains unfazed. To counter the incoming attack, the intruder opens a portal, introducing a shining golden figure to fight on his behalf. Sung can only watch as the two powerful figures duke it out among themselves. Sung wakes back into his apartment, screaming for help before realizing that he was just in a nightmare where he saw everything that happened in his past. He wonders why he had the nightmare again after it's been a while. Sung leaves his bed and walks up to the image of his mother sitting on his table. He promises his mother that he is going to get stronger so he can avenge her by killing those who took her away from him. Suddenly, a section of his room gets blown apart and Sung is thrown to the ground by the shockwave. A mysterious white humanoid figure enters the room and walks up to Sung. In a surprising turn of events, the figure addresses Sung as his son. The figure informs Sung that he is leaving him his power and that of the entire bloodline. The figure enters Sung, and he passes out in the process. When Sung wakes up, he complains about the subsequent dreams. He believes that his apartment blowing up and seeing the mysterious figure is all a dream, until he puts on his glasses. He takes a better look at the room to see that a section of it is destroyed. Sung leaves the house, not paying much attention to his broken window. He plans to fix the window later since he needs to get to work to avoid getting scolded by Miss Kim. Sung is ready to do whatever it takes to get stronger and avenge his mother. He walks down the history while a historical romance, just like Miss Kim demanded. Unknown to Sung, he is the secret heir to a powerful writer who goes by the name Victor Hugo. Also, awaiting absorption inside his little head is 32 billion reads. Sung innocently continues his story while still navigating the street. He soon runs into a little girl and her mother. The girl is mesmerized by seeing a writer, and her mother urges her not to disturb the busy Sung. Sung is confident that the publication he is working on will overthrow K's best-selling book. He soon runs into Salim, who talks about how hardworking Sung is. Apparently the two have known each other since they were at the same orphanage. Just then, Salim asks Sung if he is aware of what happened in Paris. Sung replies that he has no idea what happened in Paris since he also went through a crazy ordeal over the night. He tells Salim that he had a crazy dream, but he doesn't remember most of it, and in addition to that, a thunderstorm destroyed a part of his room. Salim looks at his friend like some weirdo and mentions that something crazy happened with the Hugos. Sung immediately becomes interested since he has no idea what Salim is talking about. Apparently, Emile Hugo died the night before after suffering from a long-term illness. Just when his power was about to be transferred to his son Julius, an explosion rocked the building. Sung doesn't want to believe that someone would go after the Hugos, who are considered the most powerful writers on the planet. When Salim realizes that his friend doesn't believe, he whips out his phone to show him the news. On the news, the reporter reveals that more attacks are said to have happened in the Notre Dame Cathedral, where the Hugos reside. Those who were invited to preside over the power transfer ceremony all lost their lives. Among the dead are the commander of the Holy Order's armed forces, Altair, and Apostle Ludwig. The reporter reveals that investigations have shown that the attack most likely happened due to a bomb going off where the ceremony was being held. This destroyed the cathedral, but in recent reports the only survivor is Julius Hugo. He was dragged out of the ruins and taken to a hospital where he is being treated for his severe injuries. Salim points out the fact that whoever went after the Hugos and managed to kill the apostle is quite dangerous. This is something that has never happened before, and the two believe that whoever orchestrated the attack took advantage of the ceremony. Sung is confident that the attack was also successful because Julius was vulnerable while absorbing his ancestors' power. Julius is considered very powerful since he is almost an S-rank writer before the ceremony. Under normal circumstances, he would have stopped the attack since his books have over 600 million reads already. It is even impressive enough that he acquired the 600 million reads from just 2 books. Sung decides to glaze himself as he compares his trash self to Julius. Salim is forced to point out that Julius is way above Sung since he only has 12,000 reads. Sung then argues that he is younger than Julius, which gives him more time to acquire the same impressive numbers as Julius. Salim cannot believe that Sung seriously believes that he can reach Julius's level when Julius is just 18 years older than him. Sung ends the conversation by telling his friend that he is just being negative. The two soon arrive at their work building, and later that evening, the two visit a bar to have fun. While they are drinking, Sung talks about how stressful it is for him to write a romantic book since it is not his style. Sung then makes fun of K's book, comparing his friend to one of the characters in the book. Salim and Sung have real fun talking about how trash K's books are and why he is just receiving special treatment because he is an idol. Just then, they are approached by a dude, Yogwe. He is a D-rank writer working for the first-hand press, and he has over 160,000 reads. Apparently, Yogwe is a friend of K. Salim, who tries to avoid trouble by lying about who they are talking about, and he asks Sung to back him up. However, Sung lights the fire, revealing that they were trash-talking K. Yogwe gets mad, telling the two that K is the best talented writer that Korea has ever produced. He is the youngest writer to reach B rank, and he is also considered the prize jewel of the first-hand press. Even with this, Sung doesn't seem to care. Yogwe figures this out and decides that he is going to beat Sung up for being a troublemaker. Yogwe also wants to use the opportunity to clear the beef between the two presses. He considers the first-hand the best new-gen presses. Salim realizes that the situation is escalating, and he tries to de-escalate it, but he gets punched across the face by Yogwe. Sung screams, worried about Salim's wellness. Sung is mad hyped up, but Yogwe is a D-rank writer, and he believes that he has no chance to take him on. The power level between them is quite enormous. Even with this, Sung tries to make a move while relying on his MMA skills from when he was 10. Before he can react, he gets kicked, but luckily for him, he is able to block the hit. Because of how fast he is, Yogwe is able to land another hit, throwing Sung into the distance. Just as he is about to walk away, Sung calls his attention again. He makes fun of Yogwe's manner. With their little encounter together, Sung has figured out that Yogwe's attacks are weak. The only edge he has is his speed. Putting everything together, Sung believes that he can take on Yogwe. Yogwe angrily runs at Sung, but because he has analyzed Yogwe's movements, Sung gets to dodge his attacks. Sung manages to get the drop on Yogwe and hits him hard, throwing him into the distance. Sung tells Yogwe that his rank is nothing since he can't back it up with a good technique. Sung turns around to see Salim, and just as he rushes over to his friend, he comes down with a severe migraine before reaching Salim. The system reveals that Sung is undergoing assimilation progress, and the system tells Sung that his rank is too low to assimilate such a high amount of reeds. Meanwhile, Yogwe is back on his feet and he is mad that Sung disgraced him. He decides to use a dangerous technique and he arms himself with a knife, ready to seriously injure Sung. Before he can get to Sung, Salim stands up and throws a chair at Yogwe. This gets him mad, and he decides to turn his attention to Salim. He charges at Salim at high speed, but just as he is about to reach him, he is stopped by an overwhelming force. He is taken to the ground, and it turns out to be a bunch of knights. They put Yogwe under arrest for using his powers and attacking a fellow writer. Salim is also restricted from moving while Sung has already passed out. The magic presses first appeared on Earth in the 15th century, which were able to grant humans supernatural abilities. The rulers of that time saw this as a great opportunity, and they started drafting writers into their armies to try and swing the tide of war in their favor. Since a writer's power can be inherited by their children, the number of writers becomes overwhelmingly large. However, in the 19th century, the rulers of the great countries who wanted peace came together to form a unit called the Holy Order. The writers who join the Holy Order then get to fight other writers who are driven by violence. After a few decades of battle, the Holy Order gained the upper hand and eventually peace returned to the world. The Holy Order then takes over the printing presses, reducing the number of books that can be produced. Each country is assigned a maximum number of books that can be produced, and these numbers are then distributed among their publishing houses. By the 21st century, these publishing houses have become the largest businesses on the planet, and the writers who own the publishing houses are the most powerful beings. Among them is Julius Hugo, who recently became the president of Hugo Press. Some of these writers achieve greater feats, like becoming rulers of a country. Even Shakespeare was a powerful writer in his time, which gave him tremendous power. To retain power, the publishing houses recruit talented writers to help them write the best books so that they can continue retaining their quota year after year. The pressure to reach their quotas often causes problems between writers of publishing houses, which sometimes leads to fights. However, the Holy Order is there to punish writers who break the law by fighting. At the Holy Order Police Department, Sung sleeps outside the building while waiting for his friend to be released. In his usual funny dreams, he sees Julius telling him that he's going to find him. Sung wakes up looking all cautious and frantic, but Salim is the one standing in front of him. He urges him to calm down, and he asks Sung what he is doing on the sidewalk. Salim later figures out that his friend has been waiting for him since the night before. Sung then reveals that he has been having terrible headaches after the fight at the bar. Apparently, when he woke up, everyone was gone, including Salim. It was the girl at the bar who told Sung that Salim had been arrested, and he rushed over to the police station, but they stopped him from seeing Salim. After hearing this, Salim thanks Sung for trying to help him, and he confirms the fact that he was arrested alongside Yogwe. Salim was arrested because the police assumed that he and Yogwe started the fight at the bar. Sung then asks Salim why he didn't say anything about him, since he was the one who started the fact. Salim replies that he is only trying to protect his friend since his books are not performing well. In addition to this, he doesn't want the press to find another reason to fire Sung. Sung hears this and refuses to accept Salim's sacrifice. He tries walking into the station to hand himself over, but he is stopped by Salim. He reminds him that the police might hold him for the entire day, and this might be bad for him since it is certification day and they need to attend. This is enough to convince Sung not to act irrationally. However, Sung is worried that Salim will be brought back in for questioning, but Salim assures Sung that he has nothing to worry about since he has a friend in a high place who helped him get out of jail. He won't be returning to jail, and Sung immediately assumes that Miss Kim was the one who helped Salim. However, Salim tells Sung that he is wrong. He was rescued by the least expected person, and that is Kay. Sung cannot believe his ears, and Salim tries to paint Kay all good, telling Sung that he has the wrong impression about Kay. Salim adds that after Kay got him out of jail, he even apologized for what Yogwe did. Just then, Kay's car parks right next to them. Kay speaks to the two from inside the vehicle, and he invites them over. Sung is reluctant, but because of Salim, he ends up entering the vehicle. Sitting in the vehicle is also Yogwe. Kay apologizes for what happened between the boys the night before. Sung remains hostile and cautious toward Kay and Yogwe. Sung boasts about how great the Nocturne Press is, and Kay agrees. However, he is hoping that the first-hand press gets to the same level someday. Sung still uses this to throw a dig at Kay, asking him if he plans to reach the top by writing fanfiction. Yogwe is mad and wants to react to this, but he turns around to look at Kay and see how relaxed he is. Kay then tells Sung that he has no issue writing fanfiction as long as fans keep coming back for more. Salim agrees with Kay, since the whole point of writing is to make fans love their books. Kay then proposes a deal to the two. He suggests that they settle their differences over dinner. Salim immediately agrees to this, asking Kay where he plans to take them. Kay reveals that he wants them to have dinner at his house, and the two agree. Not long after, they arrive at Kay's apartment building. They ride an elevator that takes them to the top of the building where Kay's apartment is located. Salim is blown away by how large and beautiful the apartment is. Even Sung is left in awe as he stands at the window side to see how massive and glorious it is. Instead of giving Kay the accolade of having a nice apartment, he simply reveals that his own apartment also has a good view, just like Kay's. Kay then calls the two to the dining table, showing them the varieties of dishes that were prepared. He hoped that they would like it, but without a doubt, Salim and Sung are already salivating over the dishes in front of them. While they are eating, Kay then asks Salim and Sung how they ended up writing for Nocturne, since the two are half Korean. Salim replies that he doesn't have a definite answer to the question. However, he remembers that he and Sung met at an orphanage in Korea, and in no time, the two became obsessed with writing. The two had no idea why they were drawn to writing but assumed that writing was in their blood. After this, the two attended the same school, and this was when they were scouted, and they ended up writing for Nocturne. Kay hears their story and commends them for working hard to get where they are. Sung still finds a way to argue that he and Salim are talented, which is why Nocturne, the best publisher in the country, hired them. Yogwei hears this, and immediately debunks the idea that Nocturne is the best. He tells Sung that Nocturne will soon lose its position as the best publisher, and this only leads to a staring battle between the two. As usual, Kay diffuses the situation, acknowledging Nocturne's greatness, but reveals their intention to overtake Nocturne by working hard. Since the two are young writers, Kay asks them if they will be attending the certification ceremony, which is being held that day, and Salim says yes. Because of this, Salim wants to leave early so that they can get a bath, but Kay offers them the chance to use his private spa. Sung and Salim are shocked to hear that Kay has a private spa. Kay tries acting modest by telling them that it is not that big a spa. Kay then takes them to the room where the spa is located by unlocking the door using a system that uses his fingerprint recognition. The four get into the beautiful spa to relieve their stress. Sung admits that the spa is nice, and he can even stay in there for months without even realizing it. Yogwei only uses this to take a dig at Sung, telling him that he is going to get stuck at E rank with the type of mentality he has. Sung wants to get mad, but Salim quickly agrees with him, acknowledging the fact that they need to work harder if they are to rise up the ranks. Salim then thanks Kay for the hospitality, and Kay replies in a good way. Salim assures Kay that there will be no more trouble between them, and Sung still acts all high and mighty, telling Kay that he accepts his apology. Yogwei doesn't take this the right way as expected, but Sung gets out of the pool, telling Salim that it is time that they leave. However, before they leave, Sung asks Kay about the symbols at the bottom of the pool. Kay smiles and replies that he allowed his artist to choose the design. He claims that they are from Germany, revealing that they are German motifs. Salim had not noticed the design before, but the moment Sung talked about it, he looked down into the pool. But Salim's reaction speaks a lot. The moment he sees the symbol, sweat drips down his face in fear as he doesn't want to believe his eyes. After leaving Kay's apartment, Salim makes his way to a dark alley where he meets with a suspicious fellow. Salim hands this fellow an image of the symbol he saw at Kay's pool. He wants the suspicious fellow to look into the symbols, but he urges them to be careful. Apparently, Salim fears that the symbol means something really dangerous, but the suspicious fellow assures Salim that they are going to be discreet in making their findings. Salim remains hopeful that the symbol means nothing. Just then, Sung finds Salim in the alley, asking him what he is doing walking around the dark alley. Salim claims that he got lost while thinking about the ceremony. Sung just scolds his friend for always acting weird. Salim teases Sung, reminding him that he is the weird one. The two then proceed to the Holy Order's headquarters, where the ceremony is being held. Present in the building are other young writers waiting to be certified. A stern-looking man soon appears to address the young writers. The man is Damas, the president of the Nocturne Press, and he is 62 years old. He is an A-rank writer with 220 million, and he is the most powerful writer in Korea, if the descendants of the Grand Dynasties are excluded. Damas welcomes the young writers to the certification ceremony. He talks about how literature has experienced immense growth in recent years. In addition to this, the writers have fans all over the world. Damas believes that in no time, Korea will be able to compete with other great writing nations. He continues with his nice speech and then uses the opportunity to congratulate First Hand Press and its president, Mr. Park. Damas applauds Park for taking First Hand to great heights in a short space of time. Park is 48 years old, and he is a C-rank writer who already has 4 million reads. In addition to this, he owns several music labels. Salim makes jokes about Park to Sung, saying Park is the shadiest looking dude he has seen. As expected, Sung welcomes the joke, saying Park must have taken a shortcut just so he can stand beside Damas. Damas also congratulates Miss Hemingway, the president of Red Eye Press. They have managed to surpass the Nocturne Press in annual sales for the first time in 50 years. Hemingway is an A-rank writer who has 600 million plus reads to her name. She is also the heir to Ernest Hemingway, who is the most powerful writer in Korea. While introducing Hemingway, her writers all clap their hands while staring at their president in amazement. Damas continues with his speech, telling the writers that they all need to remain vigilant, especially after the recent tragedy that happened in Paris. Damas points to the writers, telling them that they are the prospects of the future to uphold peace in the world. After some minutes of delivering his speech, he suggests that they start the ceremony. Damas starts calling on the apprentice writers one after the other. Salim is glad that he and his friend finally made it, and they will take the oath. The writers are expected to place their palms on the console while reciting the oath. A dude named Seong is the first to be called on stage to take the oath. Seong chose Aiden Dragonborn as his writer's name while taking the oath. Salim is impressed by the nom de plume Seong chose for himself. Salim asks Sung if he's going to choose a nom de plume for himself too. Sung replies that he has no intention of picking another name for himself. Just then, a dude behind them chips in on the conversation. The guy is Evander, and he calls himself the Righteous. He reveals that having the right nom de plume can help writers break into the international market. Sung thanks Evander for the tip, but replies that he doesn't need the international market. Evander only mocks Sung, asking him how far his stubbornness has taken him. Salim asks Evander a simple question, and he starts glazing himself like he is a god. When he reveals the nom de plume he chose, Selim acknowledges that it is nice. Apparently, Evander is following in the footsteps of his idol, Altair, which is why he chose Evander the Righteous. Sung also asks Salim what name he is going for, and Salim reveals that he has no intentions of changing his name. He is going to go with Salim to honor his mother. Evander looks disappointed that Salim is going with something so simple. Sung joins Evander to tease his friend, saying there will be other writers who already have the same name as him. Just then, Salim is called to the stage to take his oath. Salim walks to the front, and after taking the oath, he is acknowledged as a certified writer. Salim returns to the crowd with a smile on his face, and just then, Sung is called to the front. Salim hypes Sung as he walks up to the console. Sung thinks to himself how proud he is that he is finally a writer after a year of writing for Nocturne Press. The officer in charge commends Sung's achievements and urges him to take the oath before the Holy Order. He also suggests that he take a writer's name, but Sung replies that he doesn't want a writer's name, as he is only interested in keeping his civil name. Sung places his hand on the console, and the officer tells him to read the oath aloud. The oath entails instructions, telling the writers not to use their powers against their fellow man. They are also not allowed to fight in public. In addition, they are expected to pledge allegiance to the Holy Order. While reading out the oath, Sung can only think about the fight that had happened in the bar. After reading out the oath, the officer tells Sung not to forget to complete his profile on the Holy Order's website. The officer has not finished this statement when the screen reveals a real-time update of Sung's lifetime reads. Instead of 12,000 reads, the system starts to re-update itself. Sung's reads keep increasing, shocking Sung himself. Before he knows it, it reaches 30 billion reads and the system immediately goes off, declaring Sung as an S-rank writer. The alarm in the room goes off, leaving everyone confused. Everyone rushes over to the console to try and see what is going on. In no time, a call from the Inquisitor comes in after someone contacted him. Even Sung has no idea what is going on, and the officer suggests that they turn off the machine before they pick up the Inquisitor's call because he doesn't want the Inquisitor to find out that there is a glitch in the system. However, the call ends up coming through, and it turns out to be an Inquisitor called Saint Alaric. With everyone's reaction, Alaric is apparently a feared man. Alaric demands to know why his work is being interrupted, and one of the officers quickly bows his head to the Inquisitor, begging for forgiveness. He claims that the system has run into a glitch, causing it to give out false readings. The officer screams at his junior officers to look for the source of the error, but Alaric stops them, asking them how sure they are that the whole thing is due to an error in the system. Trembling in fear, the officer fails to give a definite answer to the question. The system keeps running after concluding its calculation, and Sung's profile is updated, showing that he is an E rank with just 12,000 reads. Everyone calms down when this happens, and the officer tells Alaric that he has nothing to worry about. However, the Inquisitor retains his doubts and only lets off a smirk. The officers apologize for the interruption, claiming that the machine is usually sensitive to giving out fake numbers. He promises Alaric that they are going to fix the machine. Alaric claims that it would have been nice if Sung were truly a forbidden S-rank writer. Meanwhile, Alaric is playing a game of chess with a dude named Leonardo. Leonardo is heir to Stefan Zweig, and he is a B-rank writer who has 95 million reads. He is a heretic, which is a bloodline forbidden by the Holy Order. He looks absolutely terrified while sitting in Alaric's presence. Alaric finishes the game with a checkmate, and Leonardo already knows what this means for him. He makes a run for it in fear, but before he can even make it far, Alaric declares his judgment. He declares that Leonardo's generation is doomed to extermination. Leonardo is trapped by a chain that finishes him. Alaric then turns to the officer, telling him not to ever disturb him over an unverified issue. He threatens the officer that he is going to lose his life if it ever happens again. After leaving the officer with this terrifying threat, he drops the call. The officer falls to the ground in fear, thankful that he got to keep his life. Sung is then told to go back to the crowd since he is done with his oath. Sung returns to Selim and Evander, who both reveal their fear that Sung was about to be wiped off. Evander teases him about being a heretic, and Sung just believes that the whole situation is due to people overreading his books. Meanwhile, Hemingway is not taking anything for granted. He tells one of his subordinates to find out everything about Sung. After the ceremony, Selim talks about how interesting it went. Evander reveals that he is surprised that Alaric was contacted over something that doesn't really mean much. Evander believes that the Holy Order must have recalibrated the detection machines after the attack in Paris. Sung agrees with Evander and says a rival family must have been targeting the Hugos. Evander hopes that the terrorists behind the attack are found and brought to justice. Evander also mentions how grateful he is that Sung isn't a heretic because he would have just killed himself, given the fact that he hates heretics. Evander considers every illegal writer a heretic who needs to be killed. Sung agrees, reminding the two that Miss Kim would not be telling him to write an office romance if he were an S-rank writer. Just then, the trio is approached by two cute ladies, asking how long they have been working for Nocturne Press. An interesting conversation ensues between the girls and the men. The conversation soon leads to the girls asking if they can take a group picture, to which the boys agree. After the saga with the ladies is over, Sung has an internal monologue with himself. He has never been a person moved by fame, love, or money. The only thing that interests him is his zeal to avenge his murdered mother. At the Hugo estate, he undergoes a power reading where he realizes that he was only able to absorb half of his bloodline's power before the bomb went off. The house steward, Arthur, tells him his father has another heir, and this is why he didn't get 100% of his bloodline's power. Julius is pissed, but Arthur assures him to relax since he has a way of recovering the missing half of his birthright. Arthur says the first thing they need to do is locate the other child whom his father has. Julius urges Arthur to be careful since the Holy Order is keeping a close watch on them since the attack happened. Arthur assures Julius that he has nothing to worry about since the person who absorbed the power will still be getting used to it, which will make him vulnerable. Julius then asks Arthur how he plans to find his half-brother. Arthur reveals that they are currently going through all of his late father's activities to find anything unusual. Different stewards have been deployed to search for Julius's half-brother, who is Sung. Arthur is confident that Julius cannot hide for long since the amount of power he has cannot be concealed. The stewards are working around the clock, checking every unusual activity in an attempt to find Sung. In their search, they run into the bar fight. But only Selim and Yogwe's names are entered into the system as the culprits, seemingly giving Sung another brief moment of escape. In the Nocturne's head office, Sung is still conducting research on the books he is asked to write. He has gone through 30 in just one day, and he tells Selim that he basically doesn't see why people should be addicted. The books always have the same plot and the same characters. Just then, Kim enters the room, informing the writers of important news. She tells them that House Hugo has just announced the release of a new book. The book is titled A Prophet, and it is written by Julius Hugo himself. Sung laughs at the name, calling it a regular book. Selim, on the other hand, doesn't mind telling Sung that he is going to read the book. In the book, Julius talks about his strained relationship with his father and his responsibilities of being a prophet. Apparently, the book provides access to the private life of a prophet, and Julius hopes that it will be remembered for a long time. Kim then drops the banger, revealing that House Hugo is expected to print over 1 billion copies. Selim and Sung are shocked by this. Sung knows that the books are going to sell very well because of the recent tragedy that happened to the family. In addition to this, House Hugo has given the rights of translation to 3 publishing houses in Korea. The 3 publishing houses are obviously the Red Eye Press, the First Hand Press, and the Nocturne Press. In a tricky turn of events, Julius wants the translation to be done by writers who are the same age as him. This is why the task falls to the junior writers, and Kim hopes that the writers will make the company proud. Each publishing house is expected to submit 5 writers who are under the age of 30. The teams will then face off with each other in a trial selection. After the trial, the team that comes out on top will get the translation contract. Kim then reveals that she has already chosen the 5 writers to represent them. Kim then calls out the name. The first person on her list is Selim and followed by Evander. There's also Yuna, who was previously working for Red Eye Publishing House. The fourth person on the list is Jean. Surprisingly, the last person on the list is Sung. Even Sung is shocked when he hears his name. Kim urges him to do his best since she had to put his career on the line to add Sung to the list. This sparks a fire in Sung and silently assures Kim that he's going to make sure he gets the contract. Kim tells them why the contract is important. Apparently, their quota will be increased, and they will return to their top spot as the best publishing house in Korea. Sung knows that translators will gain nothing working on the project, but this provides a sure sellout for the translators' next project since they will be working for the esteemed Julius Hugo. Sung is fired up, and he tells Salim that it is finally time for them to shine. Salim is confident that with Evander and Yuna on the team, they are definitely going to win the competition. Apparently, Yuna is a direct descendant of Ernest Hemingway, and she is also Red Eye's president's daughter. The fact that Hemingway's daughter is working for Nocturne still shocks Sung. Salim mentions that Yuna's relationship with her mother broke down, which is why she left the publishing house. Salim believes that she is out to do her best and get back at her mother. Sung is only worried that Yuna will end up stealing the spotlight from them. The two are still talking about Yuna when Jean shows up behind them. She lets them know that she is there to formally introduce herself since they will be working together. Sung is aware of the fact that Jean is still extremely shy, and if Kim had picked her as one of the team members, that means she has some talent. Jean reveals that she has not spoken Korean in a long while and suggests that they communicate in English. The two gentlemen understand her plight and agree to this. It is easy for the writers in Nocturne to speak different languages because they are multilingual. They have focused on this aspect since they need to work with international clients. Evander soon joins the conversation, boasting about how talented he is. He is the only C rank in the team, while Yuna is D rank. The rest of the team are basically E rank writers. Evander takes a dig at Sung, reminding him that his last book isn't doing well, but he believes that the current task will help out on that. Sung then boasts about how good he is, saying the Red Eye writers are nothing compared to him. However, Yuna tells the group not to underestimate Red Eye Press. She reveals that the junior writers in the press are quite talented and formidable. Sung is shocked to hear this, believing that Yuna read his mind. He cannot believe that Yuna can hear thoughts in addition to her skill of superhearing. Evander tells them that they need to head to the Holy Order headquarters, where they will find out what the trial is going to be like. Moments later, they arrive at the headquarters of the Holy Order. Joining them are writers from the Red Eye Publishing House. In addition to this, there is Kay and his team from the First Hand Publishing House. Just then, a messenger from House Hugo enters the room to address them. The messenger has a mask over his face, and he tells the writers that they are all considered special by Julius. However, only one publishing house will be allowed to translate his work, which is why the competition is needed. Their only task is to retrieve the pen of the condemned man. This is an S-rank artifact used by Victor Hugo himself. The pen is considered to be powerful, but no one knows its power level. Sung is shocked when he hears the task, and he wonders why House Hugo is demanding that junior writers be the ones given the task to find such a powerful artifact. The messenger further reveals that the pen was stolen from House Hugo years ago, and they lost track of it. However, it seems the pen has resurfaced on the black market. He mentions that the pen was recently sold to someone in South Korea, but the buyer's identity remains hidden. Apparently, the pen was sold by the antiquarian, and this is why Julius has turned to the three best publishing houses in Korea to help find it. For the antiquarian, he has been captured, and they plan to extract more information from him. The antiquarian is thrown to the junior writers, urging them to interrogate him and get more information that might be useful out of him. While Sung and Salim are shocked at the treatment of the antiquarian, the writers from the Red Eye house are all daring to go. One of them opens his inventory and whips out a knife while the antiquarian begs to be spared. Without hesitation, the writer relieves the antiquarian of his head. Sung and Salim are shocked to see this, but the messenger appears to be impressed. He considers the Red Eye house to be the first to make a move. Not ready to interfere in their way of doing things, the messenger leaves, wishing them luck. Evander is mad at the writer, who killed the antiquarian, Arya. He demands an explanation from her, but she rudely tells Evander that she has no explanation to give. Sung is also pissed, and he is confident that the Red Eye writers know something that they don't. Evander fails to get his emotions under control. He unleashes his power, telling Arya that she had no right to kill the antiquarian. Evander is ready to go all out against Arya if it means learning everything that she and her team know. Salim screams at Evander, telling him to calm down. He believes that the Red Eye team already knows so much about the pen, which is why they killed the antiques dealer. Sung then asks Salim how the Red Eye team could have found out. Salim then tells his friend that there is only one reason why the Hugos tasked the Korean press to find the pen. It dawns on Sung that Salim might actually be up to something, since the Hugos could have easily tortured the antiquarian and gotten the pen themselves. Salim believes that the late antiquarian probably sold the pen to a Korean middleman who is working on behalf of the real buyer. Yuna then questions how the Red Eye team found out about the pen. Salim then says the middleman would have driven up the price of the pen by showing it around and in turn started a bidding war. Evander then mentions that only a powerful writer would want to buy the artifact, which automatically narrows their search down to members of the Blessed Bloodline. One of these powerful people includes Helena Hemingway, president of the Red Eye Publishing House. The Blessed Bloodline is a result of the one-child policy enforced by the Holy Order to try and regulate the number of exceedingly powerful characters. Since the 19th century, when the law was put in place, A and S rank writers have only been permitted to have just one kid. This is a sole heir who inherits the entirety of the family's powers. The descendants of the greatest writers in the past are currently the most powerful writers of the New Age. Yuna defends her mother, telling the team that her mother wouldn't have the courage to buy a stolen artifact from the Hugos, which automatically rules her out of the equation. Salim agrees with Yuna, but mentions the fact that the middleman would have still approached her. The middleman would also have approached other Blessed Bloodlines on the continent, and by this, Salim believes that Hemingway knows who the middleman is. It then dawns on Evander that Arya must have killed the antiques dealer based on Hemingway's orders. Jean suggests that Yuna ask her mother about the pen. Yuna considers this an impossible task since she is no longer talking to her mother. In addition to this, her mother would definitely not help her since she is already working for Nocturne Publishing Press too. Evander then assures Yuna that they are going to find a way around the problem. Just then, one of the Red Eye team members, Zach, makes fun of Yuna, telling her that she never should have left them. Yuna claps back at Zach, telling him that staying at the Red Eye Publishing House would have meant working with morons. Zach tries to recover from the ultimate finisher, telling Yuna that she is currently a nobody since her mother is the one with all the powers. He takes it a step further by asking if she is truly Hemingway's daughter. He says she should have kept her father's name, but before he can finish the statement, Yuna reaches him with a scythe to the neck. Zach smiles evilly when he realizes that he managed to hit Yuna where it hurts. He then tells her to look behind her. Yuna turns around to see Arya behind her, ready to pounce if she attacks. Sung can see that things are slowly getting out of control. He knows that fights among the publishing houses have left several writers dead over the years. Salim screams at the bunch to stop going at each other, reminding them that they are in the premises of the Holy Order, which means fighting is not an option. Salim apologizes to the officers watching, assuring them that they will get on the mission given to them. However, the officers reply, telling the writers that they have not broken any law. The officers add that the walls of the room are made from reinforced concrete, which means that they can fight anyhow they want. Once Kay hears this, he realizes that things might take a drastic turn. Kay mentions that he and his team would simply excuse themselves so that the two great houses can go toe-to-toe against each other. After Kay's departure, Arya and Yuna prepare to engage in a duel. Arya looks more terrifying, and her aura fills the room, while Yuna appears to be the calm one. Yuna is disappointed that Arya told Zack about her father. Arya doesn't feel remorseful about this, and she only dares Yuna even more, asking her what she plans to do about it. Arya is a C-rank writer, which makes her even more dangerous, while Yuna is still D-rank. Yuna then tells Arya that she is ready to teach her that ranks don't mean a thing to anyone who comes from a blessed bloodline. Sung assesses the situation and figures out that the Red Eye team is stronger than they are. He knows that they are at a disadvantage, and he suggests that they leave instead. However, they have no way of convincing Yuna since she is very stubborn. Sung adds that Yuna stands no chance with her current level. Just then, one of the Red Eye team members, Frostblade, appears behind Sung. Frostblade warns Sung not to try and interfere in the duel. Frostblade is also a formidable opponent since he is a C-rank writer. Without further provocation, Frostblade decides to attack Sung. The next thing Sung sees is Frostblade's large weapon coming straight at him. Sung almost gets hit, but luckily for him, Evander jumps in to block Frostblade's attack. Evander is surprised that Frostblade has gotten stronger compared to the last time they saw each other. Frostblade does a majestic backflip while revealing that his latest book is selling really fast. Evander doesn't care if Frostblade has gotten some power, as he is ready to show him who is the boss. Sung can stare at the ensuing chaos that is unfolding. Sung is deeply worried since the Red Eye team obviously outclassed them in every area. The team has 2 C-ranks in their midst with over 1 million reads. The only person who can match these 2 C-rank beasts is Evander. Sung also wonders how long Yuna can hold her own against Arya. Sung is deeply worried since Arya is a formidable opponent who has made a name for herself by writing fantasy books. Her Phoenix Ascending series is her best-selling series, and they have sold over 1 million copies. With the way she's moving, she's a prodigy to become Red Eye's next CEO. Sung figures that Yuna has blessed blood running through her veins, but she obviously does not have her family's power since her mother is still alive. Sung concludes that Yuna doesn't have what it takes to stand against Arya. Just then, Evander screams at Jean, Selim, and Sung to get behind him, because he wants to cast a protective barrier. However, Frostblade is not about to let this happen. He doubles his attack and comes against Evander even worse than before. The clash between Frostblade's weapon and Evander's shield leaves a shockwave that rocks the area. Once Frostblade has Evander occupied, he tells the rest of the team to finish off Sung and the other two. Without hesitation, the trio accepts the task. One of them charges towards Selim, aiming to punch his head off. But before he can reach Selim, Sung grabs him and tackles him to the ground. Sung is able to pin his opponent to the ground, but he soon notices that another member of the team has their eyes on him. The enemy is perfectly positioned to take Sung out since he is an archer. However, Sung miscalculated. He believed the guy was aiming for him, whereas he had his eyes on Jean. He fires the arrow straight at Jean, and Sung screams at Selim, telling him to help Jean out since the arrow is headed towards her. Selim wastes no time before putting his body in harm's way to protect Jean from harm. The arrow pierces Selim's body, spilling blood everywhere. Jean is stunned to see a bloodied Selim crouched over him. Selim doesn't get a moment of break before he gets kicked into the distance by another Red Eye team member. Sung watches his friend get battered with an arrow lodged into his shoulder. Sung freezes up, wondering if his friend is dead. The sudden lack of concentration gives Sung's opponent the chance to free himself. Sung remains immobile, and the enemy lands a punch straight to his face. The moment this happens, the absorption system activates, and Sung immediately takes in 500,000 reeds. He receives some insane power-up from this. He immediately tanks his opponent's next attack and returns the favor with a blow to the face. A single blow to the face sends the dude flying out of existence. He hits the roof, shattering every bone in his body. He coughs out blood while the roof's integrity is shaken from the hit. The Red Eye team immediately turns their attention towards Sung, telling him that he is going to pay for what he just did. The archer fires an arrow at Sung, but he catches it like it's nothing. The archer is shocked to see this. Sung grabs the arrow and holds it like it's nothing. Just then, another enemy comes charging at Sung with a flying kick. Before the kick can hit Sung, he grabs his opponent's leg and pushes the arrow into it. Sung successfully takes her out of the equation, leaving her to scream on the floor. Sung then turns to the archer, telling him that he is next on the list. The archer realizes the imminent danger and immediately yields. Sung looks around to see that his friend is fine. However, Selim tells Sung not to worry about him, pointing to Yuna, who is already losing to Arya. Arya holds Yuna like she's nothing, and she's ready to impale her with her sword. Evander screams at Arya, urging her not to kill Yuna. Arya then reveals that she has no intention of killing Yuna, but she's going to make her pay for leaving the Red Eye publishing house. Arya is also restrained from killing Yuna because of her mother, but she wants to cut her face as punishment. Just as she's about to do something, she notices a projectile coming her way. She only manages to dodge the projectile at the last minute. The projectile hits the wall, leaving a considerable dent in it. Surprisingly, the projectile is none other than Sung's glasses. Arya turns to look at Sung, who is supposed to be an E-rank weakling, standing all tall and unfazed. Without a doubt, Arya knows that the glasses would cut straight through her if she hadn't moved at the last minute. Arya then decides to abandon Yuna and face Sung. Arya goes all out, telling Sung that he shouldn't have gotten himself involved. Since Sung is not Hemingway's daughter, Arya is ready to kill him. She unleashes her signature kill move, ready to take Sung out. Propelling herself at a great speed, she dashes towards Sung, armed with two dangerous swords. Suddenly, Sung lifts off the ground, and he meets Arya halfway. Sung is about to end her when Kim appears on the scene. She stops the two and throws them in opposite directions. Kim suspected that something like this would happen, which is why she came. Even with Kim's interference, Arya doesn't seem to be done. Sung, on the other hand, wonders if he truly stands a chance against Arya if Kim hadn't shown up. Kim turns to Arya, telling her to calm her nerves because she still has a bright future ahead of her. She points out the fact that the Hugo family stands to gain the most from the duel. Kim then reveals that this isn't the first time the Hugo family has pushed houses to compete for their favor. Kim further adds that the Hugo family will get to weaken the other families by tricking them into fighting each other. Arya doesn't believe Arya's take. She is convinced that House Hugo just wants to work with the best publishing house. Instead of getting mad, Kim calmly replies to Arya, telling her that she was in the same position as her 2 decades ago. This was a time when a war broke out, and it led to the annihilation of one of the greatest publishing houses in the country, Scrollgate. Kim is well aware that those in the room lost loved ones in the war, which left the country in chaos. Kim narrates that everything started with a simple challenge, just like the one they are currently undergoing. Even after everything that Kim said, Arya doesn't seem to care. Frostblade then walks up to Arya, urging her to back off. He suggests that they leave, and Arya agrees. She then tells Sung to pray that their paths never cross again. With this, Arya and her team walk out of the room. After they are gone, Sung asks Selim about his injuries. Selim assures his friends that he is fine since the arrow didn't go deep, and it also did not break any of his bones. Kim also assesses the situation, and she assures the team that Selim will be back on his feet in no time. She then suggests that they need to get him to a hospital. Sung tells Kim that he will take Selim to the hospital. Suddenly, Sung is hit with a migraine again. The absorption system activates, adding 1 million reads to his numbers. Because of this, he immediately unlocks the C rank status. Sung cannot take the pain and ends up passing out too. Kim then suggests that they get Sung to a hospital too. At the Holy Order Hospital, Sung and Selim are admitted into the same room. While Sung is still out, Selim is busy texting an unknown person on his phone. From the text, he tells the person that he needs some very important information. In no time, the unknown receiver replies, assuring Selim that they can help him get whatever info he needs since this is their job. Selim tells the receiver that he needs to know the person who bought a stolen artifact from House Hugo. The receiver then asks Selim what type of artifact it is, and Selim reveals that it is an S-rank pen. Selim also adds the name of the artifact, but while still on the phone with this unknown person, Sung finally wakes up. Sung asks Selim what he is doing on his phone, and Selim replies that he is only looking for information about the pen. Sung is surprised that even in the hospital, Selim is still working hard. Just then, the rest of the team enters the room. Selim reveals that he got lucky and didn't suffer any major injuries. Evander acknowledges this, telling Selim that he really was lucky considering the fact that he got beaten up pretty badly. In fact, Evander is impressed that Selim is already getting back on his feet in just a day. Selim then showers praises on Sung for saving him. Evander also thanks Sung for saving Selim, Yuna, and Jun. Evander also apologizes for what happened since it was his responsibility as team leader to protect those who are under him. Evander promises that it will not happen again, but everyone just ignores him and goes about their own thing. Jen walks up to Selim to check on him, but Selim assures her that he is fine. Selim even takes off his shirt to show Jean. Jean is shy, and she turns around with her face completely red. Sung notices this and urges Selim to put on his clinical gown. Yuna then touches Sung from behind, giving him his glasses. She tells him that she has fixed the glasses for him. Sung is shocked because he didn't even expect to get a thank you from Yuna. Yuna then thanks Sung, and he appreciates the gesture. Sung is left to wonder if Yuna can truly hear his thoughts. Sung tells Yuna that she has nothing to worry about because she is with Nocturne now, and they need to have each other's backs. Sung suggests that it is time they get back to work since they have a pen to find. Sung puts on the glasses, but everywhere and everything becomes blurry. He is surprised that he can actually see better without the glasses. Sung mentions that the visit to the hospital has helped him since he doesn't need his glasses again. Yuna acknowledges this but urges Sung to get himself some underwear. Just then, Selim receives a text from his hidden contact, telling him that they have tracked down the pen. The contact reveals that the pen was sold on the black market in Seoul. Selim is shocked when he learns that the buyer is the head of a Korean publisher who was outlawed by the Holy Order. This said buyer is none other than Scrollgate. Scrollgate was once a big name in the country until it was forbidden and outlawed by the Holy Order. Back at the Hugos' residence, they keep receiving calls from their dispatch stewards to try and gain information about who they are looking for. Steward number 28 calls to inform them that his end is a failure. Arthur acknowledges him and tells him to return to the country. After this, they get a call from the steward number 29, who informs Arthur that there was a fight between an E rank and a D rank in Seoul. Before he continues saying anything, he starts getting all familiar with Arthur as the two seem to know each other. He completely ignores the scope of the mission, and he talks about how Arthur sent him to the other side of the world. Just then, Julius enters the room. It appears that the steward is also familiar with Julius, but immediately bows their head to Julius. The steward talks about how much of a fan they are and the fact that they have read Julius's books loads of times. They continue talking until Arthur reminds them to talk about their investigation. The steward reveals that Selim was able to hold his own against a D-rank writer during a bar fight. The steward also looked into Selim, and he found out that Selim is an orphan. The steward adds that there is no family record about Selim. Arthur then asks if the steward got close to Selim, and they reveal that they did. They reveal that they followed Selim, and while tailing him, they noticed something crazy. The steward reveals that Selim works for Nocturne Press, and he was injured in a duel, but a day later, he has completely healed. Arthur agrees that Selim's ability to heal from injuries is obviously higher than that of an E rank. Arthur asks the steward if they are very sure of what they are saying. Instead of answering the question with a simple yes, the steward starts talking about how good they are. In fact, they were able to get a strand of hair from Selim, and they plan to send it to Arthur so he can run an analysis on it. Arthur is proud of this, and he assures the steward that he is going to keep them informed. However, Arthur doesn't want the steward to let Selim out of their sight. Meanwhile, Evander and the team make their way to a restaurant to talk over their plan and how to find the pen. They go over what they know, and Selim reveals that the Red Eye team already knows who bought the pen. The antique dealer was also killed so that he wouldn't get the chance to reveal who the middleman is. Sung then comes to just one conclusion, and this is them meeting up with Hemingway to tell them everything that she knows. Sung wants them to force her whether she likes it or not. Yuna stares at Sung strongly when he says this, and it is quite understandable since she is her mother. Selim, on the other hand, doesn't think they are going to get anywhere trying to force the strongest writer in Korea to do their bidding. Yuna then adds that her mother will never help them. She says the woman is currently enjoying the fact that her publishing house has finally overtaken Nocturne in sales. This is the one time in her life that she has succeeded in anything. Sung notices that there is a bit of tension between Yuna and her mother. He then asks the lady why she hates her mother so much. Yuna replies with a cold tone, asking him why he wants to know. Selim then tries to calm the tension, telling the group that they are not going to get anywhere by arguing. Just then, Selim receives a message notification on his phone. Selim's sources tell him that Scrollgate used to do business with an antiquarian who had links with the criminal underworld. Selim's sources reveal that the said person calls himself Mr. Dealer, and they add the person's address to the message. In their final message, they urge Selim to be careful since Mr. Dealer is considered to be highly dangerous. After reading the message, Selim tells the group that he has an idea. Before he can even say anything, Yuna already warns him not to say anything about her mother. Selim assures Yuna that it has nothing to do with her mother. Selim then lies that he remembers an antique shop that he used to go to. He claims that this is a place where he usually goes to buy banned books, and it contains all sorts of objects from abroad. Selim continues by saying the shop owner is shady, and he is also a big name on the black market. Selim wants them to check out the shop because it might have what they are looking for. Evander initially ignores Selim's suggestion, asking him what he is doing at a shop that sells banned books. Evander is the all-righteous writer, and he reminds Selim that places that sell banned books are illegal, and a writer shouldn't visit them. Selim then lies that he only wanted to read books about heretics to get to know them more, just in case a fight breaks out. Sung supports his friend, telling Evander that he needs to be more flexible because some heretics have talents that need to be known. Jean then joins the conversation, talking about how there are no heretics from where she came from, but she is surprised that there are still heretics in Korea. Selim reveals that there are heretics in Korea and they are even established. He explains that most of them came to Korea after the Holy Order was formed. After the Holy Order was created by the greatest rulers of their time, they signed a pact with the 50 most powerful writer bloodlines of the age. In Britain, they had the Shakespeare dynasty and the Dickens dynasty. In France, there is the Hugo dynasty and the Zola dynasty. These 50 dynasties signed a deal with the Holy Order, promising to bring peace to the world. To also make sure that writers do not go out of control, the powerful ones are forbidden to have more than one child. The heirs are the blessed bloodlines of the current times, while the heretics are the other bloodlines condemned by the Holy Order. The Holy Order hunted down these heretics and killed them. However, some survived, and a number of them escaped from the Holy Order. The heretics ran away from Europe, which is the Holy Order's strongest base, and settled across the world to form underground factions to fight the Holy Order. Over the years, these hidden heretics have managed to steal printing presses from the Holy Order. They use these machines to publish their own books and in turn get stronger. Their whole plan is to get stronger and overturn their fate one day. Selim reveals that the heretics in Korea never stopped writing, which is why, if you look very well, you will find their books. Selim knows a few good books from the heretics, and he mentioned them. Selim soon gets carried away with praising the heretic books, but Evander smacks the table, telling him not to talk about heretics because they were banned for a reason. Evander reminds Selim that by reading their books, they are going to get stronger, which already defeats the whole purpose of being a legal writer. Evander gets really mad, asking Selim what he has to say in his defense. Jean notices the tension and suggests that they calm down. She apologizes for asking the question, but Sung urges her not to be sorry since it is a sensitive matter among writers. Sung then suggests that they go with Selim's idea since Yuna is not ready to put a call through to her mother. Selim laughs out loud but suddenly gets hit with a headache. This is due to the strand of hair stolen from him by the steward. Analysis is about to begin on the strand of hair